What would happen if the villagers found the void? Would they build a village there? Would they even survive down there? Well, let's find out. The void, a terrifying endless abyss of nothingness. Home to, well, nothing but doom and death. It can only be accessed by breaking bedrock, which should in theory be impossible. But let's just be honest here, players have been glitching through bedrock since forever. So let's say the villagers somehow managed to break through the bedrock and decided, hey, this abyss looks like a great spot for a vacation, so why not build a proper village down here? There's one tiny problem though. You can't actually place blocks in the void. So, you know, building a village sounds, well, impossible, right? Well, actually, it's not impossible. As it turns out, entities can exist just fine in the first 64 layers of the void. And so the secret to creating a void village? Boats. Boats can be put on leads, and these leads can be tied to fences, and this can allow them to hang above the void. And so with multiple of these boats on leads, we have the revolutionary discovery of pathways. Well, it is more just a chain of boats hanging over an abyss, but what could possibly go wrong? So let's just assume that the remaining villagers are able to master the art of walking on boats, and with some lanterns for light, I'm sure that they'll be just fine now. Now, here's the thing about the void. You can't place blocks there, as I mentioned earlier, so building actual structures, it's kind of hard. I mean, building this classic village on the void, yeah, that's not happening. In fact, this would be impossible, but don't lose hope for this void village, because we can still have a village. It just needs to be around the void instead of in it. Villagers could build their homes, farms and workplaces right on the edge of the void, and they would still spend a lot of their time hanging out on those boat paths, which would actually be within the void. Also, to travel to each of these buildings, a villager would have to travel through the void. And so, technically speaking, it would still somewhat be a void village. Now, they could use boat elevators to move between the surface, where all those buildings are, and the void boat paths. It's super practical, right? These void-side buildings could have everything a village needs. Small houses, farms, a blacksmith, a library, oh, and definitely a cartographer's hut. Got to have someone making maps of, you know, absolute nothingness. Now, of course these buildings would need some modifications. Fake outside areas by the windows, lots of artificial light for the crops, and maybe a glass floor here and there to remind the villagers of the ever-present danger lurking below. Now, you might be wondering, why would any villager want to live in the void? That's a great question. And for one, it's safe, as no mobs spawn in the void, so no creepers will be sneaking up on them and randomly exploding, and no zombies will be wandering around, ruining their crops and corrupting their souls. But best of all, being in the void means that no evil players whom aren't subscribed to this channel will wander in and steal everything. They are safe from all the great evils. And it's also very private. It's basically the ultimate underground bunker, as long as no one finds the entrance. As long as it's sealed and hidden, no one will ever find it. The Void Village can be a self-sustaining paradise of isolation, away from all the evils of the world. It will be a secure village, and no one will be able to stop them from thriving. Well, a Void Village wouldn't be easy, but life is possible down there. So what villager would go through this great trouble of creating a void village? Simple, the Wandering Traders. These guys are basically the rich elite of the Minecraft world. They've got cool suits, fancy llamas, and most importantly, they have all the rare materials that would be needed. In fact, the Wandering Traders could be the only villagers who could turn this void village concept into a reality. But also look like a luxury retreat. Well, at least by villager standards. They could even create a fancy rich black suit for themselves to wear when they're hiding in this void village. It just fits with the void aesthetic. Now hold up. Why would the Wandering Traders ever give up their travelling? They love to travel across the world to gather up and trade exotic and rare materials. But, well, here's the thing. They wouldn't actually want to give that up. But because of the aforementioned reasons, the Void Village would not only be the safest village, but it would also be a village secure from any external threats of the overworld. So in theory, that could make a Void Village perfect for a doomsday plan. When the overworld becomes too dangerous, if the mobs ever take over, the Void Village is their backup plan. A safe haven where they can survive forever. They wouldn't necessarily want to live there, but in a worst case scenario, it could be their only option for survival. These void villages could be the last bastion of village life if the surface was to fail them. Now, some might say that these villagers are being paranoid when creating this village, as the overworld should be safe for millions of years to come, and so they have nothing to worry about. Well, that's what you think. Here's the perspective of one of the actual villagers. Remember, he's not paranoid though.
None of this is real. The Void Village won't help us. We're doomed. Doomed, I tell you. Like, the void isn't actually empty. It's not a void. It's all a lie. The void is hiding something. Something big. If you want to know the truth about the Void Paradox, click here. Before it's too late. They are coming for us all.